Hello, welcome once more into the House of Shenanigans. I feel like I should do a voice for this one. Uh, Hello, you have come back to the House of Shenanigans. My name is William Portals, which is Bill Gates in Fantasyland. Doth the roads, the American dream? Doth the roads? Anyway, so welcome to the House of Shenanigans. We play a little D&D here, and it's fun. Um, I'm together tonight with Jim, Clyde, Eric, and Matt. We'll run through real quick, and they can give us a brief re-description because it has been a little bit of what their character's name is and maybe a little bit about them. So we will start this time with Clyde.
Hello, I am Clyde, and I will be playing Gardane, our forge cleric. We need a god for our world that works with forges. I don't know who it is.
You caught me with my pants down there. Sorry, Matt.
Hello, I am playing Cajun Moonseeker, who is a shifter, which is a form of a descendant of humans and lycanthropes. And he is a druid who has been taught shamanistic ways, the ways of magic rather than the ways of transformation. And so he is able to bend the will of beasts and critters and animals of all kinds to his will, not in a hurtful way, but in a way that will assist in repairing or healing the world of the evils that plague it.
Nice. Jim.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I'm playing Critter, but not one of the critters that Cajun controls. That's my name. My nickname. That's my group name. I am Critter, the 6'2" tabby that's all in leathers with the furry, poofy hair and feet and paws, and yeah, it's yeah, that's me. I'm fat. I'm fast. Excuse me, not fat. I'm fat.
All right, now that Jim's aired all his problems, let's move on to Eric.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe I should apologize for Jim on that behalf. He got his emotional problems out on that one. Some repression. We sometimes work in mysterious release in our depression. Jim, we just thank you for revealing that to us, Jim. We greatly appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Eric. I play your friendly neighborhood paladin dwarf, Ulthame Broadhammer, better known as the handsomer, better dwarf of the two brothers.
There we go. That's excellent. And just to tack on, it doesn't matter how big your body is. It all depends on how big your fart is. Your heart. Sorry. Sorry. Anyway, so
You're a jerk.
I'll never forget. Anyway, so last time, just we kind of did a more overview ourselves. I'll touch the high points. The group came in contact. They defeated the large Ankeg that seemed to be pressing the outside of town, and then searched a little further into the grass, came across this desecrated area that looks like maybe that's where the stone formation came out of. They had an interaction with this Dark Craig character, and I can't read it. Um, and he got he's a little testy. He wasn't their normal bro. They got into a fight, and after throwing some waylays on him for a while, an interesting thing happened. Cajun actually dropped, what was it, a moonbeam? Fairy fire?
It was Moonbeam, I believe, yes.
I think it was, and it was the bugs that came from your staff encircled him, and in moments you could see it as it was shining down through him. Parts of his face kind of faded out, the color of his skin went pale, and then finally it's almost like the bugs kind of crawled into him and he exploded outward, leaving no remains. The milestone rolled all the way to the center of this desecrated area, from which a stone statue of what looked like Craig had appeared. After a certain amount of time, Craig was able to come out. They were worried whether this might be another imposter Craig or Doppel Craig, and they decided that he was not, because he was cool. He was their bros, forever bros. And they all decided to go back to the three-legged dog in town, where the party had decided that they felt like maybe they weren't completely fulfilled their side of the job of going and figuring out the situation with these bugs, which is why they were originally sent out. So where we're going to pick up is the next morning. Everybody had kind of talked a little bit. We could skip some of the pleasantries of, hey, what are you doing today? Oh, this is what I'm doing. And what we're going to get down to is just kind of the last 15 minutes before everybody's about to walk out the door. So take it away. Craig is he's just kind of sitting there lounging a little bit. He's got the box to his side in one of the chairs. Most of the other seating in the room are benches or stools and things, and he actually took the chair and he's sitting in it, and he's kind of awake and he's getting his gear and stuff like that together, but he's not necessarily putting it on.
Well, Cajun would be finishing off his story about this strange woman that was referred to by Craig's doppelganger, and he would finish by asking Craig a direct question, whether, with the small amount of information that we're able to give him, just the name she and no description, and just that she was after this milestone, and just that she wanted it. She had ordered this duplicate to go and get it. If he might know who that might be or how dangerous they might be, given that the being that we fought took on his voice, his form, everything. He had all of these powers, and someone had the power to desecrate this land, which is very powerful magic. And Cajun would ask him if he has any idea of who that might be.
And Craig has been, like I said, kind of lounging in the seat and with his hand kind of over the top of the box, just almost always in constant contact with it. And he's listening to you, but he's not looking at you. And you pose this question, and he leans forward, elbows on his knees, and he's looking at you, and he says, to be honest, man, I kind of blacked out when we were all in the fun house, when everyone got invited to that party. I know at one point things just, they seem to like come back to me sometimes. And in those moments, those memories working their way back into my head, all I can think is it's probably something at the hands of Arlette. So that's the last place I was. And then I guess the next place I was in Iraq. And I don't much remember everything in between. But I might be a little biased. Anytime I hear that there's a she causing problems, I usually go to the old flame.
Occasion nods with some internalizing, just he's trying to piece it all together. It's like she must have a very detailed plan if it indeed was her first taking you. Maybe she took you for that purpose. I don't know, but it seems like if it is her, there's some greater plan in place. But something else concerns me. This duplicate seemed to have some of your memories, perhaps. He spoke of an Olaf Darkhammer, a storm giant of ancient days that...
He gets this big grin on his face as you say it.
that apparently the duplicate had defeated by himself.
He relaxes in his chair. And he says, you know, the old Darkhammer, huh? The Hammy Ham. That guy. Yeah, first and foremost, let's just get this clear. Olaf, he was a bad guy. He was a big guy. He was a bad guy. Second of all, it wasn't whoever that thing was that took him down. That was me, with some help from some other people. So if he's recalling his memories, he may have been trying to, I don't know, maybe he was just trying to like leverage something that maybe somebody here, and he looks around the room and he snaps his fingers and points. And it says there, I bet you it's because Critter. Did he bring him into it? Critter knows.
Critter sits up, looks over, sits back. Yeah, I know. I heard about it, and everybody talks about it.
Yeah. So, right. If this thing had all my memories, he was probably just trying to convince you guys that he was me. I mean, and he did all the stuff that I did, right?
I thought he was you.
You thought yeah. And he gets this like shocked look on his face, and he turns and he looks over to where Ulthane and Gardain are, and he's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And he's talking to Ulthane.
Ulthane looks at him, kind of with the beer in hand. He says, "What do you mean?"
If this pretender, if he acted like I did, I'm just like, "Are you okay?" And you can see him kind of like pointing at his lower body.
Ulthane looks at his leg and goes, and he looks at his brother and he goes, "Is this something I'm missing? Is my leg supposed to be okay? Like, I mean, did something happen to me while I blacked out? Did something happen to my... Look, you can do anything to the face you want, but, the legs you leave alone. That's just not right."
And as you kind of like turn to your brother and be like, "Did something happen to me?" Craig like puts his hands on his head and he's like, "Oh, bro, I'm so sorry. I bet it was a rough night for you too," talking to Gardain.
I got drunk, I know. What else was supposed to happen?
You didn't have to tend to your bro's injuries? Like, at all?
Oh, he's okay. He's still walking.
Yeah, I know. He's still walking. That's it's
Alcohol
like,
does
no.
wonders. Don't. If I explained to you the dwarf physiology, we would be here for a millennium.
I did say the 15 minutes. You're right. So he turns and he's just kind of looking around the room, and he finally snaps back over to Critter, and he starts to say something, but he's like, he turns back, and he's like, "Tell me, what was it like? What was it like fighting this imposter? Tell me what he did. Did he have like fighting stances? I want to know how much like me he fought."
He was rather easy, really. I mean, aside from the throwing of the spear, the little shield, except for he wasn't my bro, and now I don't know what to do now. Are you still? I still ain't 100% that you're the real Craig.
And he holds out a knuckles to get a pound.
Bro, and I pound it.
And he says, "It'll come with time, I guess, dude." I said, "So he like hit you?" And Critter, it kind of dawns on you just a little bit that you have heard a lot about Craig's specific fighting style, but you can't say that you've ever seen it. And you know that it's unorthodox. And so the way that maybe Doppelcraig fought was a little too standard. And it wouldn't have been something that would have come to mind at the time because it was a heat of the moment type situation. But now looking back on it, it doesn't seem that special.
No. His fighting style, now that I look back and think on it, it doesn't look like I've heard yours to be.
And he kind of stands up and shakes his arms out.
Cajun would sort of say, but he did lay the hurt multiple times in very short amounts of time. He seemed to have so many attacks, and they seemed to impact Ulthane rather badly, but he was okay in the end.
So it sounds like he at least got part of it right, and you can see him. He's stretching, like from side to side, and stretching out. And he stands up, and again he kind of shakes it off, and he moves his neck around, and he walks over, and there is one of those like clothing dolls that people would hang their stuff on, and it's just like made out of wood. It's like a full body mannequin type thing, but where they would sheath armor and stuff. And he walks and he hits a pose right in front of it. And it's crouched way down low. A lot of his weight's on his back leg. He whistles and his hand opens up and immediately the blade is there. And he makes 4 lightning quick attacks. First is the blade. Then he follows it with a knee, and elbow. And Critter... every one of these shots were directly to the groin. And he pulls back and he looks and he says, "Did he fight like that?"
No. That quickly, absolutely. But he did not target the same area, sir.
And he does like a running punt in the same area, and then jumps, and he's going to do like this roundhouse kick, but he completely whiffs on the head and brings his right leg once more up from the ground, landing on his back, and he hits there and then kips up, and he's standing there, And he's like, were there any of those?
No, sir.
And he looks at Ulthane and he's like, oh, good. That's why I was worried. It's amazing that you're still walking. If he would have been fighting like me, would have been a rough night for your brother had he fought like me. But I'm glad that none of that happened. I'm going to let you guys get on with your day. And he kind of turns to walk away, and he like mule kicks this thing, and it just pops up and off and lands on the ground. And he says, I think I'm going to stay in town for a little bit. I'll probably just wait on you guys. How long are you guys going to hang out?
Cation says, well, you were hired for a reason, and that reason was to find who was responsible for the disappearances of this stock, the strawberries and the different types of crops, and we haven't really done that. We don't know exactly who took them. We don't know where they went. We don't know why. We don't know if they're still around.
Wasn't it those big bugs? I could have sworn it was.
It could be, but we don't know. We just know that the bugs were there. And then all of this about the milestone sort of took precedence.
Well, you got any leads?
Well, those bugs, but we don't know which direction they came from.
Looks like probably have to go to the scene of the crime then, huh?
They're gonna love that. I mean, we've been there, and I don't know, this town's gonna be talking about this for a long time. Gricklin didn't seem overly happy, but then when they saw the Ankeg, I guess they were happy to have the fertilizer again, I suppose.
And you can see kind of a look comes over his face, a ponderous look. And he says, okay, well, guys, like I say, I will be here or at the Three-Legged Dog. If you need to find me, that's where I'll be. I'll wait on you guys because I think it'd probably be best if we all go back together, right?
Right. Strength in numbers.
Yeah, exactly. More people to guard the milestone. Well, very good. Well, Craig kind of gets up, places the body of this mannequin back in its location, and he opens up the chest. Inside is the milestone, but again, it has zero glimmer. This thing looks like a bowling ball right now. And you guys don't feel the same aura off of it. And he looks and he's like, that's still inert. I guess gotta wait for it. It's safe as is right now. And he closes it and he takes it over to a Foot Locker and puts the chest inside, puts it down, locks it, takes the key, puts it in his pocket, and he walks out. So where are you guys going?
My thought, and Cajun would just say this out aloud, would be to go back to Grickland and tell him what has kept us and tell him who we think might have taken the crops and see if he's got any idea of where we should start to, I don't know, do a further investigation.
Very good. Is anybody doing anything else?
No, just getting my stuff ready to go. We were.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh no, I was thinking we were going. Wasn't we going to go and see about that rock, or did the rock fall? I don't remember if
the rock was floating in the sky, and eventually it began to break into a bunch of little parts and remained still, and ultimately it just kind of whipped into dust and vanished.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get a head start, because if Caitian's gonna go talk to Gricklin first, then I'm certain that he'll end up up at the strawberry fields forever. So I'm gonna go ahead and go there and see what I can pick up there first before he shows up with his information.
Ulthane?
Look at my brother. You think we should go with him? Like, kind of pointing over to Critter. I mean, because, just Critter getting up and walking. Look at my brother. So you think we should go with him in case something, in case some of those bugs.
Well, it couldn't hurt. I could do with a stretch.
As unless you want me to go with Critter and you go with Cajun.
Doesn't matter to me. I'll go with Cajun.
We'll make up your blasted mind.
I'll go with Cajun, and you go with Critter, and we'll see what's going on.
And he looks at his brother and he claps. He goes, "By God, by the hammer, was that hard?" He walks up. He walks off, following after Critter.
All right, so we will start with Gardane and Cajun. You guys have made it to Gricklin's home. It's maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, and you can see there are a bunch of people working on Gricklin's farm, as well as many of the surrounding farm, but Gricklin definitely has the largest batch of individuals.
All right. I guess we'd first go to the door and see if there was anyone inside. And if there was no reply, we'd approach one of the farmers.
Sure. So one of the hands is actually out there. He's a couple trees deep inside this particular mini orchard, and you can see him picking apples off of the trees, and he kind of sees you, and he's holding the basket, and he says, "All right then, come on." And he says, "Grickland," and you hear one after another voices further and further into the farm itself, going, "Grickland, Grickland, Grickland, Grickland," almost kind of a chain. But he kind of motioned. After a minute or two, you see Gricklin emerge kind of from the side through a cornfield that's there. And says, "Oh, here they are, the heroes. What are y'all doing back today?"
Well, you might have heard what we said before. we found that on keg, and you got your fertilizer off it. But what we're concerned about is we went off looking for the milestone for the guild, but we don't specifically know who took your crops, where they are, or if they're still around, and we didn't want to leave before our job was completed.
Ah, men of honor. Very good. You're more than welcome to look around the farm, as long as you're not going to get in the way of the guys working, which really shouldn't be hard. I know they kind of move around in shifts, so you should be able to avoid them no problem. You know, you've heard my story, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's been dealing with this. There might be some other farmers about that might be worth talking to, either in town or tending their own fields.
We have heard your story, but I just wondered if maybe you have an idea of where these creatures come from, or we don't even know if it was them, but they're our only lead at this stage. Those four-armed antennaed creatures with the blades, the chitinous blades or chitinous blades.
Yes. Well, I've got to finish a load. You go on out to the site where you're going to be checking. If I think of anything between here, I'll come check on you. If I think anything between then and now, or now and then I'll be sure to bring it up.
All right, then.
Perfect. Hey, thanks again for everything you guys are doing. We really appreciate all of you guys. And he kind of puts his big brawny hand forward, and he puts a finger on your badge and kind of like is indicating that he is talking about the guild.
We do our best.
You sure do. Thanks. And he kind of turns and heads back into that cornfield and disappears.
Look over to Gardane, shrug, and say, "Looks like we're going back." And
cool. Yeah. We can we'll switch over Ulthane and Critter. You guys have made it out to specifically the strawberry fields, which is next, or the strawberry area, which is next to, as you're aware, the potatoes, which were also vandalized or stolen or whatever.
I'm going to go ahead and look around, find clues. I mean, I don't have a clue where these bugs came from, but my first assumption is that bugs come from holes. So I'm looking for holes in the ground, something like that.
Okay.
Maybe possible entrances for them.
Yeah. So I would say you do a perception check on that.
Okay.
While he's doing that, Ulthane, what are you doing?
Kind of considering I'm in, he's a stealthy type and I'm a not so stealthy type. I would like to, if I can, because do I see Critter trying to move stealthy? Trying to be all.
Nope.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, the whole thing, watching Critter look about, kind of almost see, because I'm looking in the ground. The whole thing starts looking to the ground.
Looking to or through the ground?
To the ground, like actually just like looking to see, like, I mean, he has no idea what he's looking for. Like, I mean, he's just like,
sure.
Like it's that moment when you see it's like when somebody looks up, you look up to be like, what are y'all looking at? Like he gives the same assumption. Like he said, like he sees the cat, he sees Critter looking down, and instantly he looks down on the ground, just like starts looking around, and he thinks it, and he goes, he literally just says, "It's dirt."
And
And finally, Critter turning around. Oh, yes, that's exactly what it is.
and
Looking back
Critter,
down at the ground.
Critter, with your perception check, as soon as you look back down at the ground in your head, you're thinking it is just dirt.
Yeah.
And about this time, or we'll say you guys are looking for a little bit, but Gardane and Cajun will catch up to you.
I look at Critter. I think it's going to be a while before we see the other two. Just because they seem interested in finding out about it. I tell him, I was happy with just spending the night, one night in the town, to see, because like if bugs don't want to be found, bugs aren't going to be found.
All right, so Cajun and Gardane, we walk up, hoy them from a little bit of a distance, and you ask if you found anything.
Dirt.
I look over at him, look at you, and nod, agreeing.
Grass too. Grass.
I look back over it, little thing. Look at Cajun, nod, agreeing.
Cajun sort of shakes his head, kneels down, presses his ear to the ground like he has a few times, and sees what he can hear.
Make a so again, make the perception check, but I kind of like the whole sixth sense thing that you have, or that maybe I decided you had.
I think you decided on that, but yes. Let's see. I got. I got 22.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I would say that there's a natural sound of the fauna in nature, and once you kind of get through that white noise, again, one of those things that you just kind of feel. You feel a little anxious. But at the same time, your anxiety, for whatever reason, you feel relief as well, because it's not in your immediate area. Whatever is twinging you right now.
Do I get a sense of where it's coming from? Like if it's coming from all directions, or if it seems like it's coming from a particular direction, this feeling of anxiety?
So two locations. One directly west of you, which if you turn and look, you can actually see right as one of these workers hacks down area of wheat, it opens up a little window and you can see, and it's another farm that's off in the distance. And then the other feeling is back in town.
Right. I stand back up again. And I look over to Gardane and I say, well, Gricklin didn't tell us much more than what we knew before. And when I press my ears to the ground, I get an anxious feeling. It's hard to explain, but something is off. And it's coming from two areas. One is the town, and there is a lot going on in the town. But one is a farm in that direction, to the west. Maybe there's something that we can do for them. If you haven't found anything but dirt, I don't really have any better ideas about where we should start looking. What about you, Gardane? What do you think?
Well, we know we could if this farm, we know where the town is, so I guess we could go gather the rest of them in case we may run into something we need, and go to this farm that you were talking about.
How far away is this farm?
Sorry, go ahead.
I just point in where that farmer has just broken down the wheat. Can we see it from here?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it would probably take you 15 minutes to walk through Gricklin's farm, and then you'd be right there at this other person's farm. It's almost like you could see the fence.
Oh, that farm. Looking over in the distance, body still toward you. And then my body turns to match my head, and I start walking toward that farm.
I guess we're going to the farm.
Old thing. Remembering how Critter looked at him and looked back. He looks from Cajun. He looks back to Cajun, and then his brother, and then he just loses train of thought and just starts walking.
And so, if everybody is going,
yeah. I mean, sorry, I've got housemates going in and out and telling me things. But yes, heading towards the farm.
Great. So as everybody's kind of getting together, maybe 15 paces ahead is Critter. But you all hear this loud sound, and it just sounds like boom. And it's coming from the farm.
Is it recognizable? Like, do we?
No. Yeah, no.
It sounds like boom.
Yeah, I mean it's very loud.
Okay. And we all hear it?
Yeah, everybody would hear it.
All right. I don't know how far away you are from me, but in your heads, you're hearing. Do we get it? Critter's itching for a bit of a fight, a chance to prove himself. Still remembering Ulthane calling him a coward. He knows that the other guys aren't familiar with what he knew about Craig, but there's still a bit of him itching to show him he can hold his own. And so as you hear this in your head, are we running? You already see Critter start to pick up the pace just a bit, starting to edge out the distance.
Gardane when he hears the boom, Gardane's already Dwarf sprinting.
Dwarves aren't good runners. We're great sprinters. I run like as soon as I start. It's like old things like walking. Like he sees Critter on the verge of like like that almost like a cat almost willing to just in a moment just like take off, and then he sees his brother start sprinting, and then he goes, I guess we are. And he says, "Come, slow down. We'll get there. We'll get there. The Dwarves aren't great runners. We're awesome sprinters, though. Not that good on running."
How far away are we?
I mean, probably 1,000 feet.
Yeah. Okay. Feeling like this is an opportunity to open the door a little more and going, this is a good time to show off. I drop all the points necessary and kick in my feline agility, and I am going to. I can spend 3, 4, 70, 7, 14. I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to run my entire 280 feet and around. I think that's what I can do. Might be 320.
Excellent. So you guys see Critter kind of goes at a pace that you could tell Critter kind of walks quickly anyway, always seems to be in a hurry, except when he's not.
Which is more often.
But with a goal in mind, you could see he was almost kind of a skip walking, and then immediately he just bursts forth and off like a light. I mean, he is running.
Yeah, it's 320. Sorry, 320 feet and around.
Great. So, is everybody else trying to use their full move here?
Yes, I will get there next week.
I am willing to write a postcard and asking how's the weather.
I see him just speed off like that, and I sort of kneel down like in a I don't know, a race position, and catapult myself off the ground as fast as I possibly can and get a whole 60 feet.
That's awesome.
Excellent. All right, so you guys are running, and every once in a while, you hear again this boom, boom, boom. And at this point, you can see some of the workers are actually kind of poking their heads, and you guys are having to duck and dodge them and stuff like that. And he kind of looks out, or all the heads kind of poke out, and they're looking towards the farm. And you can see Critter. You actually see maybe a man in his young 20s, and he just kind of real quickly barrel hops the fence, and he's running back over, and he says, "Grickland," and you start hearing the voices around you echoing, "Grickland, Grickland, 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 Grickland." Right about this time, from behind the other three, you hear this Grickland, Grickland, and it works all the way back behind you, and you just hear a voice yell out, "Groot!" And if anybody for a half second turns around, Grickland is finally arriving where he said he would meet you, and he's wiping his hands off, and he sees you guys all running, and now he is running behind you. So if this were initiative, Jim, you're at the top here. What can you move 320 feet again?
Actually, what I would do is, I would, after the initial 320, I would stop. I'd turn back, see what they're doing, feel like I'm being impressive. Take that moment to ram the blade into my wrist again, and as you watch the soul knives pop out from both hands. And after a round of standing still, I would spend 3 more points and do 320 feet again.
Great. Is everybody else still just chugging?
Yeah, I mean, going towards the sound of the explosions and trying to keep up with Critter here, who seems to move faster than the wind.
Here's the cat flash.
The Clash? What?
No. All right. So at this point, Critter, from where you're at, the sound of the booms are fairly loud, louder than they have been. And you've seen a couple of the a couple more farmhands kind of hurdle the fence and sit there, hold on to it, and they're kind of looking through the middle of it into their farm. And your eyes move from them to the farm in which another one of these Ankegs rears back and becomes visible over the top of it. And you hear boom, boom, and you see these 2 purple lights flash up and hit this thing across the head.
Do I know those purple lights?
No.
How close am I to the Anke?
You are... So from the farm, you still have 360 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
And then to it, there's more.
Okay. Well, doing it the way that I'm doing it is the quickest way. So I'll do another round of stop and then another round to go.
Cool. And so everybody else, Grickland has, first of all, he's caught up to the dwarfs. And Grickland seems to be pretty agile for a bigger orc. But he's caught up to the dwarves and he's running side by side you guys. And and he pops a whistle, but it's a toot 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 type whistle. I can't whistle, otherwise I would. And as this happens, you hear voices again, kind of grickling, grickling, grickling throughout the entirety of it, and you just hear this, and bursting out from the side is this ugly horse that it's got face scars, and it looks like it's a big beefy thing, but it almost looks like Grickland as a horse. Like this thing has seen some things, and it runs right up next to Grick, and he is going to, if you will allow him, he's going to pick both of you by the one in the left, one in the right hand, and he's going to toss you onto the horse.
Well, he'll catch Gardain by surprise, and no.
You're more than welcome to oppose him if you like.
Oh no! Like I said, he called. I'm singularly focused, and now when I'm on the horse, I'm like, I'm cussing every language that I know right now.
Thane, are you getting on a horse?
Oh. Wait, he just picks him up and sets him on a horse?
Well, so he's running. He's running.
Yeah.
This horse has come out of the like the wheat essentially, and is running right in front of him. And he's run and caught up to you guys, and he's splitting you. He's in the middle of both of you, and he grabs you both and tosses you up onto the horse.
He accepts it, but he's got a death clench on his brother's shoulders. Full on, like.
I'm pretty sure Gardade's super scared too. So this is excellent. But this horse is just
we are on a horse.
Yeah, and this horse is just thundering. And it's taken off in the same direction because you hear a smack as Grickland hits this thing on the ass and it starts running off. And now Grickland is the horse. Cajun, you would actually see it a few seconds later kind of catch up and pass you. And Grickland is standing there, and he's kind of looking to the sides. And again, you hear another one, and coming out of the same side is a much more beautiful horse. This is a white. It's younger, but the muscle, like this thing is lean. This thing is maybe have never been to a race, but you imagine this is what race horses looks like. And it again lines up right in front of him, and Grickland quickly grabs the back of the saddle and just vaults this thing and lands up on the side and grabs the reins. And as soon as he lands there, he goes, and it looks like he's going to give it the old whip to make it run faster, but he just pulls it out to the side, and then he lets go and holds on. And as this happened, this horse starts to take off, and it is running. It is catching you in a blaze, and you see Grickland's arm kind of come out, almost like he's going to try and grab at you, but he's giving you fair warning versus these dwarves.
All right. How far have we moved so far? How many rounds has this been?
Let's see. So to get to where Jim was, it was 4 rounds.
6. Oh, sorry.
Well, 4 rounds before this one where you take off, right?
Okay.
So we're probably in the middle of that, or at the end of the 5th round here, where Critter's about to shoot off again.
So we're about 200 feet into this?
Yes.
All right. Seeing a horse coming up behind him, and oh gosh, seeing that we've got a lot of space to cover. The 2 dwarves are ahead on the other horse. What does the scene that we're looking at, that we're running towards? Obviously, there's farmers and stuff, and there's this purple light being shot at this Ankeg, and we probably can't see super a lot, but it looks like people are in trouble. I'm just tossing up what Cajun would do at this point, seeing this beautiful horse bearing down on him. Cajun would pause, take a breath, raise his hands up into the air, and is the sun shining at this point?
Sure is.
All right. My hands would go up towards the sun, and I look sort of up in that direction, but not directly at the sun. And I close my eyes, and I just bathe in the sunlight for a moment. And that's probably long enough for Grickland to catch up.
And with your arms stretched upward, Grickland swings his arm around and kind of grabs you on the backside very quickly. And he's got you, and he rocks you forward and pulls you up almost eye to eye with this horse. And you can see its eyes, and they're not normal. They are brilliant, like the light of the sun. And they don't seem to be emitting light, but they're just as hard to look at. And quickly thereafter, as you're kind of on that upswing, you sit there and you look at it, and then he pulls you backwards and gets you up on the back side of this horse. And he goes back to just holding on to the front of the unit itself, of the saddle. And as he does, he says, "Hold on." And as you kind of get a better grip, this horse, you feel its arms and muscles and the seating that you're using on the back of this horse, everything expands and it just gets even beefier and bulkier and bigger. And you can see this thing now, it's trudging, it's running, and it's actually catching up to the horse that the dwarves are on, even though they had a little bit of a head start on you. And so then, Critter, you can get to where you can almost, I mean, you are now about to plan your jump over this fence.
You made it 960 feet. Cool.
Right.
With the remaining speed that I have, I'm not going to spend any more points. This looks like danger, and I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna spend 2 more points to give me a +1 to all attacks and damage. And that's let's see, that's round 6. On round 7, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna travel 100 feet. Well, I have 100 feet of movement that I'll be willing to spend.
Okay. Just because I brought it up, how do you vault the fence?
I actually don't vault the fence. Going full speed. I might be tall, but it's more important for me to keep forward motion. And in a split second of all this awesomeness, I revert to my small form and kitty cat leap between 2 of the posts, and then turn back into full size on the other side. Feeling super good about myself.
Super unnecessary, but very funny.
And in that shot of me doing it, I'm over there like, yeah, I'm awesome.
And towards the end of the movement, again, you hear boom, boom, boom. And again, this
Is it really somebody shouting out boom?
Make a perception check.
14.
Yes.
Realizing that somebody's actually shouting boom, I laugh. I'm like, I'm in the middle of this room like, yeah, I'm awesome. That's fun. Oh no, somebody's actually fighting it.
And you see, again, the Ankeg kind of comes up and slams down, and this time it turns up and it sprays out that same kind of vile mucus that it spewed towards you guys when you fought the previous one. And it kind of lands, and yeah, so now back over to our horses. As the white horse begins to catch up to the ugly horse with the scars that the dwarves are on, as soon as it gets neck and neck to this thing, the exact same thing happens to that ugly horse, where it just gets beefier and brawnier, and it seems like its steps are taking even larger steps. So now these 2 immaculate running steeds are side by side, and you're still about 2 turns away from the fence, but you are running much. Well, no, that's probably not true. You'll get to the fence in your next turn. And so you guys are just kind of holding on for dear life. Critter, you hear boom, and right as you do that, you get clotheslined by a staff. And then as you kind of land on the ground and gather yourself, you are looking up at these chitinous mandibles. Two of them, two sets, standing over the top of you. 8 arms, 4 legs. A lot of fun. And everybody roll initiative.
Oh.
All right. Gardane, you are going to get you and Ulthane on this turn. Your movement, unless you choose to jump off, is predetermined. Are you jumping off?
No, I've got a death grip on this on the horse's the horn, and I'm just letting this horse go. Like, do I attack it? Do I stay still? I don't know.
And consider my brother is pretty much got a like I don't see his death grip on like terrification. I still have the terrification of a death grip on his shoulders.
Excellent. So you see this horse just keeps running over, and he makes this leap. And as he leaps, you see it clearly for the first time, and you hear boom, and this purple light shoots up from the wheat into this Ankeg, and it reels again, and it dives back down and pops back up. But you also happen to see, if you do look up at all, you see there are 2 of these bugs about 40 feet away now that are standing over your friend Critter. Ulthane, same thing. If there's anything that you, actually, I should say this, Gardane, you are 40 feet away. You do not personally have movement, but you do have an action and a bonus action if you like.
Just a question. Can you cast spells from the back of a horse?
Yeah, as long as you have the components, or if it has a somatic component. I expect you to tell me the rodeo 8 seconds montage that you're going to give me here.
The Billy the Kid song comes to mind when I think of this.
No, I'm. So is Critter down, or did he just get knocked down?
He just got knocked down.
Oh, and there's one of them.
2 of them.
So I'm gonna. Okay. I'm gonna Sacred Flame one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. He needs to make a Dex savings throw. I believe.
I got a 3 on the dice. I don't know why I'm checking. He did not make it.
Oh, okay. Then he takes 1d8 radiant damage. Wait. Yes, it has the S. Okay. So he takes 2 radiant damage. And with all the movement, all the frantic moving of Gardane's hands, I throw myself off the horse.
All right.
Only thing I would like to say is, Ulthane goes, "Why, you son of a..." jumps off the horse. I'm going to do a check to see if I get flung off the horse with him because I have a death grip.
Yeah, if you want to, by all means.
Well, I'm sure a 6 doesn't do it. So, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll say that you got tossed as the horse landed. You didn't adjust, especially as he jumped off. And because you were holding on, he actually kind of went with you off the side. But yeah, you just landed. We'll say that you're prone.
Well,
Cajun.
that is my turn.
Oh, was there anything else you wanted to do, little thing?
Could I get up?
Not this turn.
Okay, cool. Then only thing I want to do is cuss my brother because I tell him how dare you jump off of a horse without any warning.
That brings us to Cajun.
Okay.
Same thing
still
as
on
your
this
horse kind of
horse.
runs up with Gricklin. They go to leap, and this horse, it's almost like a hurdler. Its size, it doesn't really even like jump up and over. It just extends its arms out, and it's almost taking just a big step over this thing.
Okay. Has he still got, like, he's gripping the horse, so not me?
Right, yeah, he's holding on to the front of the saddle. The horn, I
Right.
believe.
Can I have a horrific car crash moment as I realize that I haven't got a firm grip and I come catapulting off the horse as it comes to a stop?
I mean, yeah, if you want to.
I'm not used to horse riding, that's all. Let me roll a save. Oh yeah, I'm coming off. So yeah, it leaps over, or basically it extends its legs and catapults over the fence. And when it lands, the grip that I have on the horse's mane just, I don't know, maybe I'm sweating. I'm nervous. I haven't ridden this fast ever in my life. And yeah, the horse hair slips through my fingers, and I come catapulting off. How fast were we traveling?
So you guys would have been traveling probably a good 150 feet in a round.
150 feet in 6 seconds. All right. So is the horse coming to a stop?
No.
All right. So I fall. We're going 150 feet in 6 seconds. How much distance do you reckon that would equate to on top of falling from the horse?
I would say that you should take, let's see, in this area, because it is tilled ground, I'll give you a little bit of cushion. But I think realistically, we're probably looking. So if it's supposed to be a D6 per 10 feet, you're not falling 10 feet.
It's just the speed, that's all.
Yeah. I don't want you to die from falling off a horse.
I'll be all right.
Okay, so my initial knee-jerk reaction was half. So that's
Half?
8. That's 8.
Hey, all right. Sure. I will roll. Give me a sec.
Really hope nothing bad
Well,
happens.
3d6 twice and 1 and 2 one time. Here. All right, that's 11, 17, 19, 22, 32. Take 32 points of damage.
So what does you smashing into the ground?
Oh.
Give me an idea.
All right. How this looks is Cajun goes into What are those little little round legged worm things that they crawl up into a ball whenever someone like touches it? I don't know what they are. Anyway,
Potato bugs or roly-polies.
yeah, those. So Cajun does that, right? He just rolls up into a ball and he slams into the ground and just rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls. And then just and what it looks like to anyone that's looking is a plow is going right through that land. He is the plow, and he just makes this indent, and it's in completely the wrong direction, and little tufts of grass and stuff fly everywhere. But Cajun's rolling, so he doesn't just straight out die and scrape off all of his skin. But he sort of lands in a heap, and you can see that it's still moving. He puts his elbows down and tries to push himself up, and he looks up, and I'm not going to stand because it's just too much in around, I think. He looks back and sees the ground that is just tilled up by his fall, and just sighs. And he'll reach down his hand into the ground, and he picks up 3 of the rocks that he's disturbed, and he looks down at them, and he speaks some words. And I'm not going to make the spell work now, but I'll make it cut in next round. But he's going to cast Magic Stone. Yes, I'm on very few hit points. Just very few. I look very hurt, but I'm alive. That's my turn for the moment.
It would have been a real bummer if my first player death was because he chose to jump off of a horse.
Oh, come on. It's a great moment for
That would be very D&D, though, so I like that. Critter.
Really?
Your turn.
Okay, so is this on top of me 2 on kegs?
No.
Or is this 2 of the... Okay.
These look like 2 of the grasshopper guys.
Sweet.
You are currently prone at their feet.
Okay, so it takes half my movement to stand up, right?
I believe so.
Cool, so I'll spend 25 feet to stand. And is there anything in this, because I've never actually taken this skill or found it myself in this situation, is there anything about using an acrobatics check to stand? Or is that me thinking of previous editions?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you need to make a check to stand up.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can use it without using all my feet. But okay, cool. So 25 feet to do that. I'm going to use...
So, I mean, just as a GM call here, I guess I would be cool if you wanted to make that your action to stand.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I will, since I've got both of these blades out, I'm going to make an attack. They're both right on top of me, right?
Yes.
Within reach? Okay, cool. I'm going to make an attack at each one.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have the D4s right now. I have the D8s. And purple's first, green is second. Sweet. I'll take it. So the first one is a 24 to hit.
Hit.
And it's 5 psychic.
Okay.
The second one is a 15 to hit.
That will hit.
And that's 6 psychic. Oh, wait. 6 psychic on the first one, 7 psychic on the second one. Forgot to add my 1 as a damage. And I will use the rest of my movement to run toward the rest of our group. And since I have mobile, it does not draw attack opportunities.
Very good.
So I literally kick up, blades swinging around, nail both of them real good, and 25 feet, like literally full dwarven movement, run right back to the rest of the group.
And as you kind of are running back towards the rest of the group, everybody else, again, you hear boom, boom. And again, 2 more of these lights shoot up. And you see this thing kind of reeling a little bit where it's at right now. Oh, wait. These guys need to go. So the one that has the spear in its hand sees you and then sees the rest of them, and he kind of gets down into a wide squatted stance, and he's holding on to this spear. The other one reaches all 4 of its arms across its body behind its back, and 2 of them, the top 2, fly forward, and it's throwing 2 of their Githkas. And they are both aimed for you, Critter. Oh, no. Oh, one of them does hit you. All right. So the first one comes flying, and it's almost like as you turn around, it flies behind you, and the other one comes, and it lands hard into the chest. And you take 4 piercing. That brings us around to Gardane.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stand up. And where is Critter at? How far away from us is he?
Critter is 15 feet away from you, in front of you.
How bad hurt does he look?
It looks like he's fine, but he won't say.
I am fine. Absolutely. Don't worry about me. You look at me. I'm not even bloodied.
Cajun looks
okay.
Brutally hurt by the fall.
He looks like a pile of spaghetti.
Okay, how close is Cajun to us?
Cajun is about 10 feet off to the side and about 5 feet forward. So he's about 15 feet from you as well, but he's off to the right versus in front of you.
Oh, okay. Then, alrighty, then I'm going to move over to him, and I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Healing Word. Let's see. When you cast this, okay. How do I only have second, so it's not going to work. Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to blow one of my 2nd level spell slots. That'll give at least 2d4 plus 3. Okay. 2. You get 7 from that.
Awesome.
Where? Yeah, okay, there we go. And I'm going to use my action to cast, what is that? Cure Wounds.
So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but
Yeah, I don't think you can cast 2 spells in a round.
you can cast a cantrip in a spell, but not a spell in a spell.
But yeah,
Well,
only 1 leveled spell.
okay. Then, I got a cantrip. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot them with my Sacred Flame again.
Very cool.
It's a
Oh, I need to make a check, don't I?
yeah, dexterity. It's a D13. Yeah.
Got a 2 on the dice. How much more? Which one are you aiming at? And how much damage do they take?
The one I hit the last time.
Okay.
Okay. He takes 8 radiant damage.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. So that's actually the one that's got the spear in his hand, and he's sitting there and takes this. What? Remind us. What does your sacred flame look like?
Of anything that is metal on him, like it kind of heats up and then it like blows up, like the metal had heated up to the point of explosion.
Nice. So yeah, you see, and the pieces that he has the metal. It's almost ringlets. It's more of an attire choice than anything else. Like it doesn't really look like armor, but he's got rings that go around his shoulder sockets on all 4 arms, and those all kind of glow. And he's in this stance, and you see him kind of pop, and he readjusts and shakes, and then goes right back into that same stance. Anything else you would like to do, sir? I think that,
No, I'm gonna keep. I'm on because I have what I'm gonna do next turn. So I got to stay close to Cajun.
very good. Ulthane, you are currently prone. What would you like to do?
Whose turn?
It's your turn.
Oh, well, no, because you cut out for a second. I heard.
Oh, my bad.
I was like, it cut out. I was just like,
Well, we are back,
disconnect.
friends, and it is your turn.
All right. So Critter's in front of us and has Mantis. These Mantis guys still on him, huh? Or threw a weapon at him, I should say.
Right, yeah, they're about 40 feet ahead of you.
Well, with that whole thing, taking off, head, to be the shield to protect a fellow compatriot. He pulls the shield from his back, kind of lobbing it over his shoulder, almost throwing it. Throwing his shield from over his shoulder. After he stands up, of course, and I will move. If I can move far enough, I'm going to put as much steel between them and my allies.
Sure, yeah, so 25 feet will put you about 15 feet away from him. If you double moved, you could essentially gain any position around them that you might want to.
I just want to stand in front of because it looks like the cat or Critter, I should say, is the one that's in the most. Seems like to be the most. And when he pulls his shield out as a bonus action, I'm going to cast a Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. What does that look like?
So when he comes charging up, because he realized how he's made his order look in the past. They've only seen him as a bloodthirsty monster. So what he does is he takes the axe from his side and he runs charges right past Critter and puts his shield in front of him and his axe holding it in his other hand, the shield in front of him. His shield, looks like a simple steel shield, but he can hear him say something like, he says, the hammer's anvil, all who wishes for its protection. And it's almost like an exact copy of Ulthane appears next to him with them holding the shields together, as though they're like lock shield side by side.
Yeah.
Like that. That's how the armor works. So my armor jumps from 19 to a 21.
Okay.
21, yes.
Perfect.
And that's all I can do.
Cajun, you are a little rocked, a little rolled. A nice dwarf friend gave you some encouraging words.
Yes,
What
he
do you
did. Pulling myself off the ground now, I do manage to concentrate for long enough to cast Magic Stone. And I guess I'm debating on who to aim for at this point. Critter is still under attack.
Critter has backed off of the fight 25 feet. So really what you're looking at is now it's you guys kind of scattered on one side and the two of these grasshopper warriors standing side by side. And they are 40 feet from you. That's probably not true. They're probably closer to 30 feet.
So they're side by side. All right. So what I want to do, so I cast the spell and these stones begin to glow. But as I see them side by side and there's no allies next to them, what I do is I whisper to the stones, and one of them, the fourth one, it sort of starts to move like a beetle that's been hiding in its shell, and the beetle crawls onto the other three, spreads its wings, and takes flight. And as it's moving, as it's flying, the wings continue to spread out, and more wings sort of appear and peel like an onion peels as it's flying. And the final layer is this body of flame inside of the creature, and it will land in between these two enemies, and it will just spontaneously burst, and the wings and the layers of the creature just like fold out like an opening flower and create a fire, a bonfire. So I'm creating a bonfire. And it's going to get both of them because I'm landing it right in the middle of them. They both need dexterity saving throws, please.
All right. One of them got a 10 and the other got a 13.
I think 13 is a set. No, it's not. No, it's not. So they both take 1d8 damage. Fire. So they both take 8 damage.
Nice.
As this fire lights up underneath them. Now, they also must make a saving throw when they enter the space for the first time on their turn, or they end their turn there. So they can move out of it and not take damage, but they might not know that. So we will see how intelligent they are. Cajun, his turn is finished anyway. He wipes the sweat off his brow as the action takes place elsewhere.
Critter. Unmute.
I wouldn't say anything. No. Big smile on my face. I'm gonna, this one that's throwing this stuff at me, and seeing that I've got somebody up here, in a second of realization, I realize part of why, or I remember part of why why I've not been allowed to go out on so many jobs is I don't play well with others. And so seeing this and seeing literally one dwarf went to another's aid, the other one came to my aid. Then I smile and I go, all right. 25 feet up to the one, just adjacent to the one that threw the stuff at me. I'm going to give him both hands, and then I'm going to go, and then I'll do something else. So, all right. It's going to be a 20 and 22. So
That's a hit.
okay, so that's going to be, excuse me, first it's going to be 10 psychic, and then it's going to be 6 psychic.
And these are on the spear cricket.
I thought the closest one was the one that threw at us.
The one that, so they're side by side, but they're staggered. So the spear guy is sort of in front, and the guy with the tchotchkes or the githkas are 5 feet back and 5 feet to the right.
Can I get to him with 25 feet of movement?
Yeah.
And that's the one I want to get.
Okay.
I run up and I hit the one behind and then zoom right on back around, coming up. And as I come back around, Ulthane, you watch me come up on the other side, not the side with your shadow brother, but the other side from you. I come up, and from behind you, you feel the pressure of my back go up against yours, and you hear me say, "We're doing good. We're doing good." I'm back to back with you, going, "We're doing good."
I like that. We're doing good. Ulthane just nods because he's in the shield mode.
Even through your armor, you feel me purring very strongly at your back.
So again,
An eyebrow raised.
let's see. Oh, I need that other card. Again, boom, boom. And you see one of the shots kind of land square right in the face of this Ankeg, and he reaches back, and the other one shoots by his head, and you see it again spew out this just toxic sludge back in the direction. From where you are at, Ulthane, you see a figure, a body of some sort, very slender, kind of roll, and you can just barely catch the outline of this thing. You can't make anything else out, but whatever is booming and getting sprayed at looks like it might be whatever this thing is. Then the grasshoppers, the one with the spear just stands there, and he kind of adjusts his feet almost like he's waiting, and the one with the githkas puts his top 2 arms back around his body, but as those arms go around his body, the 2 bottom ones turn and throw 2 more of these githkas. This time they're coming at where Critter went to hide. So both of these are aimed at you, Ulthane. And you got a 21 AC right now? God damn.
Yes.
So the first one goes, and as it comes at you, it looks like it's dead on, but you just shield this thing out of the way, and like almost unconsciously, like this is a joke. And the other one, he throws it, and his finger definitely must have got caught because it only goes about 10 feet in front of him and just dives straight into the dirt. And they do not move. They just stand there.
So they need another saving throw, please. Both.
and both of them will fail.
So they both take another 5 points of fire damage.
Gardane.
As the fire still burns hotly beneath them.
Gardane. Are you muted?
I think you went BRB.
Just go BRB. Gardane looks like he's about to do something. Ulthane.
Well, feeling critter. Ulthane will kind of look over his shoulder and then look back towards the ones throwing Gifkas, the little pointy star thingies at him. And he is, how far away from me are they?
15 feet.
Aha, all right. Well, I am either going to run up there or run up there. Definitely one of the two. All right, so anyway, I'm going to... So they have fire around them?
It is spurting up from the ground almost in between them, and they're both just kind of standing in it.
All right, so yeah, so I'm definitely going to move up on them, kind of to give Critter warning that I'm going up there, you know, because I don't know how braced he is, back there, but yeah. So
Probably
I'm
uncomfortably braced. I am part cat.
All right. Well, so anyway, Ulthane's going to run up there, axe still in hand, and he's going to take a swipe at one of them. Oh, I don't think a 14 is going to hit him.
Ooh, you might be right. A 14 does miss.
Okay. So, well, anyway, going up there, he kind of swings the axe, but realizes in his hasty, still trying to be, what he's always been trained to be, the whole shield protector thing. He kind of misjudges the weight of the axe, and it kind of throws him a little bit. That's what I'm blaming on. I'm sticking to it.
That's good. I like that's fair. That brings us to Cajun.
Well, is Gardane back?
I figure he'd probably say something when he gets back. We'll let him jump in and then reinsert him into initiative when we get back. Or we can take a 5-minute bio. I know it's in the middle of things, but it seems like it might be a convenient time. Does anybody disagree?
I mean, I'd rather not in the middle of an encounter, but...
Right.
Keep going, then. We'll just have him act at whatever point, and I'm down with that.
I won't start the next round until he's taken his turn for this round. How's that sound?
All right, so whose turn is it if we go to the next?
So if he doesn't come back until we're at the very last, actually, so the monsters go last. So I'll make sure that he goes before the monsters go, and then we'll just go right back in the way initiative is set.
Would it be okay to cast Sacred Flame on one of them?
I think his plan was to heal Cajun.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think a safe bet would be is if Cajun still looks like he's messed up, like I don't know, like personally, I don't know if he's like bloodied still because I know Clyde healed him for 7 previously. I don't know if Cajun would still be bloodied, but if Cajun is still bloodied, I have a feeling Clyde would cast Cure Wounds on him at least.
So we're going to vote as a group to take at least a level 1 spell slot.
It's hard. It's just like.
The thing about it is like, you know, he keeps asking me, well, how bad are you hurt? I'm like, not touched at all.
Yeah.
I think,
People hurt.
he definitely made a comment about he knew what his next move was, so he was trying to stay close. But maybe he was going to bust a level 2.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said before, like I'd hold off until the end of the initiative, have the monsters go do what they're going to do. If he ain't back by then, if he gets pissed, I'll take blame. Cast Cure Wounds. So I mean, you know, I don't know what he's doing. So.
Let's see, because obviously, if he would have by now healed Cajun, then that would probably dictate what he's going to do. So we don't have to take a 5-minute break. We can sit here and chit chat till our good friend Clyde comes back.
Are we on the?
Are we
on the creatures?
No, there's you and Cajun still both have turns. And he's at.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Clyde wouldn't be pissed to cast it, because if Cajun is still bloodied, so to speak, like I'm pretty sure Clyde would heal him, like because there's no way he's just going to, you know, just be like, all right, live.
So I am going to make the GM decision. I think because it was Clyde's intent to heal, I think I'm going to roll a D8 because that's how much level 1 Cure Wound spell is.
Since we're doing it for him, just max it.
Yeah.
since we're choosing to spend a slot for him.
Well, I think his intention
walk away from every fight after starting again.
Oh,
he's back.
Oh, look, he's back. Oh, look. Hey, Clyde. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, it's your turn. What we can do?
I'm going to ignite my road flare.
Hey!
So sorry, I had to go take care of something. So what is everybody still alive?
Everyone is still alive. So we took Ulthane's turn, which means you got skipped, but your actions weigh heavily upon what Cajun might do.
Okay, then I'm healing Cajun.
Okay. Are you using a first or second spell slot? It's important that I know.
I'm going to look that up right now. I'm going to use my second level spell slot.
Very good.
Let's see. So it's 2d8. Yeah, 2d8 plus 3. So 7. I got 16 hit points back.
Whoa.
Nice.
That is extremely potent. Does that have a visual to it? I mean,
yeah, this guy, like I said,
some hefty healing.
Bowl of old spaghetti, and you just healed this thing. So what's up?
He would reach out and touch, but where he touched, it would like your flesh would heat up like you were metal, and then it would just start to pulse. It would kind of just spread through your body but it would stay really bright. And then as it further away from his hand it got, the duller it got.
Wow.
All right. I believe that brings us to Cajun.
Cajun has this.
Cajun
yeah,
is
is it critter
before
first?
you, Critter.
I'm sorry.
Cajun has this reflexive sort of shout of semi-pain as the heat sort of spreads through him, and then he realizes that, in fact, it is knitting his flesh back together, and where it's been cut away by the soil that he landed in, and he looks over to Gardain, and he nods and he says, "Thank you, friend." And he's going to toss one of his magic stones at this point. And I think he might actually go for the Ankh Egg.
Okay.
Being that it's a big scary creature, and he feels like the guild should have a presence before the Ankh Egg as well as before these grasshopper things. So yeah, he's going to try to toss the magic stone over, and so I've got to make an attack with it. And I got 15 to hit.
That hits.
With 7 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
Awesome. So how do you get its attention? Because you got its attention.
All right, so I throw the stone, and as it's catapulting through the air, it just explodes out into a mini Ankh Egg. And it sort of lands right in the creature's face and starts burrowing into its cheek. And that's the damage that it does.
Nice.
That's how I catch its attention.
And so you kind of see it, and it's a little gruesome to anybody who's looking. So everybody but Critter. And he kind of, this Ankh Egg's head turns, and these giant mandibles clack together. And as it does, you just see the tail end of this Ankh Egg just drilling in through its face and disappearing into its head. But now it's looking at you, and it's just got this fucking, sorry for language, but this broken part of its cheek, its face, its armor, its shell is just splintered and cracked. And Critter, now it's your turn.
And the one who's throwing them is still standing?
Yes, they are both still standing in fire.
I am going to run the long way, swing by, give them both to the guy, to that one who's been throwing them, and then continue to I'm going to try to make sure I'm going to keep using Wolfane while he continues to be awesome as he is at not getting hit. He's better than me so far. Sweet. It's a 16 and a 15 on the dice.
Both of them will hit, assuming you have bonuses.
Yeah, it's plus.
I'm kidding.
Right now?
I'm kidding.
Okay. The first one is going to be 8 psychic. And the second one is going to be 7 psychic.
How do you kill that one?
As I go, as I come up for him, he's still reaching up. He's starting to pull out his hands like he's about to throw them, and I cut off his arms, his front arms with the as they're outstretched, and you watch those the Githkas fall to the ground, his hand still holding on to him. He looks down, looks up, and in that moment of looking up, my other blade comes right up under his chin, and you watch the tip of it come out the top of his head. And as I pull away, you watch it just rip out his face and his mandibles as I come back around and get behind Ulthane.
Very cool.
Purring even harder now.
And his body just kind of topples over, kind of crumbling with no actual support anymore. It just kind of falls straight down in a heap. Let's see. The Ankh is turned and focused on you, and it just spews out. So I need everyone to make a dex save, please. As this sludge comes propulsively out of its mouth.
Oh. Do I get a bonus because I'm behind somebody?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted you to acknowledge the no. So as I think the problem here is that you weren't looking. And as this spray kind of comes, actually, I need to make a save here too. Nope. This ooze that spreads and shoots out just kind of runs over where you guys are fighting, and it permeates its width. And the first thing it hits is this stalwart cricket man fighter who's standing there, and it hits him, and he moves forward, but it's almost like the tide, and he is just standing up with this thing rushing over his back, and parts of it hit the back of his head and wave crest over the top of him, and they're coming right down at you, Ulthane, and you're able to avoid just a little bit of it. But sadly, right behind you is a purring cat who does not see it coming. And Critter, you take 10. Everybody else will take 5. Including the Thri-kreen. I said it again. And then as you're kind of maneuvering out of the way of this sludge, Ulthane, it's almost like as you take a slight step to the left, he juts out his spear and tries to get you with it. And you're still at 21?
Yep.
And so this shot, it's almost reactive, and it's a good shot. And it looks like it would have hit you real clean. But as you were getting out of the way, the sound of this cat behind you makes you instinctually turn your head, and this thing shoots right past. And it looks like he was aiming for your face, and he almost got it. That guy's dead. Gardane.
All righty. Oh, let's see. How does everybody look now?
Still not bloody.
Still not bloodied neither.
Yeah, I think we're all okay.
All righty. So since everybody seems to be up and Gardane will hold his axe up and kind of flip it up like he's flipping the axe to grab the handle again. And when he does, this giant spectral axe follows with him and as Gardain is moving, his axe, this big spectral axe, moves with him. And I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon. Yeah. Okay.
What else? Anything else you're doing? I think you have a move.
I'm going to move. It says I can, as a bonus action, I'm going to move. I'm going to move the spiritual weapon 20 foot towards the Thrycreen or the Cricket Man, and then that's
Sure.
my turn.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably about 10 feet away. Ulthane.
Well, considering that he feels kind of guilty that his cat buddy didn't get, he kind of almost instinctively he knows he should have yelled "move." He kind of like it's just like he goes from this like trying to be, and he throws the shield down and he grabs that fucking glaive from his back, and he's going to rip into him. 17 and 22.
Both of those hit.
All right. He takes a grand total of 20 points of damage.
All right. How does that one die?
All right. Well, is it the one that hit Critter? The one that spewed the stuff on Critter?
No, that was the Onkeg.
Well, so what he did was while they're sitting there fighting, because I think this is the one that tried to stab me in the freaking face.
It is.
Using the shield, he kind of like takes the shield, throws the as he's throwing the shield down, he kind of like made the spear miss him, and when he whirls around, he doesn't have anything in his hands, and the only thing the mantis dude can see him is reaching over his shoulder and grabbing a stick from his shoulder, from over his shoulder, and then as soon as he throws it out, it actually extends out, and a blade, the blade pops out on it, and he hits him across the torso, and then he takes the other end and almost dwarf jumps, hitting him in the chin with it.
Nice. Kind of the same thing. His body just collapses in a heap. Anything else you would like to do?
Nope, all I can do.
Cajun.
See Cajun's furry flesh start to taint with pink as he realizes that his last attack turned the Ankeg's attention towards his friends. Cajun will move so that he's not in the general area of his friends. So in case the Ankeg keeps on spurting out this acid, that he'll be the only one that gets attacked by it and not his friends. And we'll toss another one of these magic stones. Oh boy. Do I have inspiration?
Yes.
I'm going to use it. That's better. 15 again.
That'll hit.
And another 7 points of magical bludgeoning damage as the other side of the cheek gets gnawed in by another one of these mini Ankegs.
Yeah, and almost as this one gets bit in, you see the other one's head still almost like it's going to work, kind of its head come back out, and then they both go back into that hole. Awesome. That brings us around to Critter.
And how far away is this Ankeg?
40 feet, maybe.
All right. Here comes the stupid. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna run up full speed. Gonna come up to this and keg, and I'm gonna attack it twice. Ah! Ooh, I got a nat 1. And that was my first roll.
Okay.
And I got a total of 13 for my second one.
So what you do is you like make this big jump Superman punch type thing, and I would say maybe at this very moment as you're going up, it opens its mandibles and you just like punch right through it, and then you like make a stab as you're like going by.
Oops. Okay.
They're like,
And I'm going to use my remaining 10 feet to position myself not in the same area as my friends.
okay, tell me about where you go. Because right now I would think mechanically you're standing in front of this thing.
Doesn't matter whether I hit it or miss it. I still don't draw attacks of opportunity from it.
Right. So are you wanting to stand right in front of it? Because you do have friends that are behind you.
Yeah, but I've only got 10 feet of movement left.
So are you moving 10 feet towards your friends, or are you moving in a different direction?
I'm going to move 10 feet in a different direction.
Okay. So that brings me back to my first question. Where are you moving?
To the left?
Okay. That is helpful for me, because as you move to the left and you're kind of dodging through, you realize that you've run into a part that's a little bit more of an orchard, and you're going and you're ducking through some of the trees, and you see something very strange. You see this, it's almost like a black bodysuit to a certain degree. That's kind of ducking and rolling. And as you're like frantic to get away, you're not focusing on this thing. So you're not getting a real good look, but you see it, and then it stands up and you finally get to a spot where you can wait, and you turn and look, and all you can see are the feet, but you hear this sound, and it's boom, boom. And you see these two purple lights shoot over the top out of the trees at this Ankeg, both of them landing. The Ankeg remains focused, and because whatever this thing was that just tried to attack him missed and ran away, so he is not concerned with it. He moves forward 30 feet and is like reaches down to try and bite at Cajun, but he is just too far away, and he doesn't have the range to be able to get a hold of you. So Gardain, he is in melee with your spirit weapon, and 5 feet away from Ulthane and about 10 feet away from you.
Okay, so I'm going to.
Hold on. Can I ask a question real quick? I have Polearm Master, which says I can attack anything that enters my reach. Would I be able to hit it?
What? So you have 10-foot reach? No, because it's still within 10 feet of you. It would have to leave
I
your.
can't.
It
says entering. That was the only reason why I asked.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Well, no. I was asking.
Yeah, no, I didn't know you had Polearm Master. That's fine.
Yeah. 19?
That'll hit.
A whopping 4 damage.
All right, Gardane.
Alrighty. So I will raise my axe, the axe in my hand up, and the spiritual weapon raises up with him, and I'm going to bring it down.
Nice.
So 13.
Ooh. A 13 will miss.
I will stay where I'm at. Okay.
Do you still have?
Yep.
You still have an action or something like that? I think, right?
I think it takes the action to use my.
Oh, to move it
It's
is
a
the bonus.
action.
Yeah. I still have to do like the attack action, so I'm just going to stay right here.
Already. Ulthane.
If a 17 and a 21 hits him, he takes 14 points of damage.
A 17 and a 21 will hit.
And he'll take 14 points of damage.
All right. So this thing is looking mighty rough. Cajun, this thing just tried to reach down and bite at you.
All right, so it's in my range now.
It is 10 feet from you as well.
It's 10 feet from me. All right, so I'll throw my last magic stone at it. So 17.
17 will hit.
And I only got 5 points of magical bludgeoning damage this time.
Nice.
Throwing that, I grab onto my staff and I will hold my staff in front of me to try and ward it off. No, I can't equip my shield. Yeah, so I'll hold my staff defensively. It doesn't add anything to my AC, but I think it does because, you know, I got my stuff there.
The old stick shield. I've seen this.
Damn right. So that's my turn.
All right. Critter.
So I've seen this dude behind me.
Yep. You sure have. You've seen this dude.
Wait, are you saying that?
You have not. Critter has not. He does not recognize whatever it is he's seen.
Okay, but this guy's obviously helping us.
He is fighting the Onkeg, that's for sure.
Okay, well, I'm gonna full on run to this Onkeg, the 10 feet that I need.
So this thing moved 30 feet forward, so now it is 40 feet from you.
I've got that. Okay. So I'll move my 40 feet forward and get ready to hopefully hit it this time without the critical fails. Here we go. Big money, no worries. I'll take that. Let's see. The first one is a whopping 10.
Miss.
The second's a natural 20.
That would be a critical hit. And as an amendment, since this has been brought up, we will just strictly do the weapon damage critically hit from here moving forward. I realize that 130 damage or whatever is a lot of damage. Luckily, Doppelkrieg had a lot of things you guys were not aware of. But anyway, so we're just going to do the weapon damage. So if, like on a smite, or if you do an attack and that attack does slashing and acid, We're not going to crit the acid damage.
Okay.
Now, if this is your psychic attack and it does psychic damage, that obviously crits.
Well, I mean, my weapon is just psychic damage.
Right.
It's only, however, going to be 12 points of psychic because I only rolled a 3 on the damage with my 8.
Tell me how you get up to it and what this looks like, and then describe the rest of your turn in this scene as well.
Oh, you got me really excited. Describe to me. It's like, yes! Okay, no. I'm going to be all hardcore. I'm taking advantage of the way that I No, I'm actually going to that made me get to the front of it. I'm going to come behind it and swing at it, and as I swing out of it, it easily moves out of the way, and I misjudge the distance. But the next time I come around, I literally rear back, and then the next scene that you see is the look on the Ankeg's face of if it could cross its eyes, it did, since I come at it from behind, and it gets a psychic spear, a psychic blade to create that amazing moment for the Ankeg.
Where do you end up?
10 feet back the way I came.
Okay. And so the Ankeg goes, and he is kind of sees you all now, kind of fanned out, but all well within biting range. And he is going to bite down at Ulthane. No way. No, he missed. And as he comes back up, it looks like he's like guttering forth, and Ulthane, because he just bit at you, you actually see it. There's this like black ooze that's starting to form in the back of his throat, and then you hear boom, and you just see this purple light shoot through the back out of this thing's head as it sits for a moment, and it focuses back down on you, and you can see it kind of moving its head, and then similarly it collapses straight down on itself. And we are out of initiative. And we are going to take that 5-minute bio and BRB. Oh, you guys, I'm excited.
Pourquoi?
Everybody knows why.
Boom.
We're playing D&D. There's some strange booming figure in the trees. It's very exciting.
Don't call him strange. It's unfair.
Well, yeah, he's different.
Certainly.
He is
But not
that.
strange.
So
All right, we all here? What we got? Got Eric.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, you guys. Once again, I mean, you have a nice fire going. I think that's still happening. That is singeing the chitin on the grasshopper critters. And
I can just start concentrating and it will die down.
Yeah, if you want to, it's whatever you want to do.
I mean,
okay, is this passed down?
knowing how valuable the chitin is, or this fertilizer that they extract from it, yeah, I would let it die down.
Awesome.
I'm gonna point out to the guys, to everybody else, what I saw, and I'm gonna try to run and catch up with them.
As you kind of turn back towards the forest or the grove, as it were, this orchard, a figure steps out from behind the trees, and he's now on the same row as where you were about to run, but it actually opens up to where everybody can see this guy. And he's got this kind of a black bodysuit capped with these very lightweight, thin-looking boots. As it goes up, you know, this bodysuit, it is form-fitted to this creature, and you get up and you see, and in his hand, he's got this, he's holding this sort of astral bow in his hand, and he sits there and he acts like he sheathes it, but he just lets go and it just dissipates. And this is when you see it, and it's this cat-like face, except unlike the critter that you're familiar with, who is very poofy, this is a hairless, and all you see is kind of this rugged nature, and he's almost got one eye squinted, and he walks up towards you guys.
Purring loudly.
He kind of looks at you for a second, and he like shakes his head and turns, and he looks to the others, and he says, "Who are you?"
well, I'm Gardane. We are helping the. We were sent here by the guild.
And you can see him, and he kind of looks you all over. Says, "Gardane, is that your name or your moniker?"
It's my name.
Okay. Are the rest of you Gardane, or?
I am Critter.
And
Who are you?
And he looks at you, and he's like, "Name or moniker?"
Moniker.
And he looks at you, and he reaches out his right hand to shake yours.
I put out a poofed right hand to shake as well.
And he's gloved. Like, the only bit of skin you can see on this guy is the collarbones to the ears. And he says, Catman Dude.
Catman Dude.
I know it's kind of a dumb name, but I kind of like it. Catman Dude. Do you get it?
I think it's cool.
Great. And he kind of leans in and he says, the real name is Snowball. And then leans back out and says, what about you? And he's just kind of pointing towards the rest of the group.
My name's Cajun.
And he looks at you, and you saw him kind of look oddly at Critter. And he looks at you, and he cocks his head back a little bit, and he considers you differently than he considers him. And he's looking at you, and it's not a smirk on his face. He's legitimately looking at you.
You know what? As he's sussing me out, and can I tell that he is like looking at me different?
You can make an insight check. I think
All right,
that's
because I got something a little special if I can tell. Oh, not very high. My insight. Oh, 14.
so. You looking at him, you can tell that the way that he's looking at you, he holds you in a slightly higher regard.
Huh. So, in response, I am going to shift. Not change forms, but I'm going to enter shifting mode. And what that does, in this case, because he's looking at me in higher regard, around my neck and shoulders, this mane starts to rise up. And you can see a proud look in my face, and that proud look is reflected by this bushy mane that sort of just grows up around my neck and shoulders.
And he looks at you, and his expression doesn't change at all. And he turns his head slightly so that it's only facing Critter. And Critter, he gives you a look on his face like, what? And then his face looks exactly like it did the first time he turned, or when he just turned to you, and he turns back.
I appreciate this, man. I have a great, deep feeling of appreciation for Catman Dude.
Oh, I'm going to kill him for sure. And so he's kind of looking at you, and he extends his arm out, and he says, Catman Dude. Towards Cajun, sorry.
All right. I will reach out my much bigger, blacker hand and do what I've done other times. You know, instead of going to shake it, I put my hand above his, like horizontally.
I really want him to like turn around and give you another look, but but he'll just sit there and like he grabs a finger and he like, oh, but you know, like everybody not really knowing what to do here.
What
So
to do, exactly.
he shakes his finger and he looks to Gardain. Wait, Gardain already went. He looks to Ulthane.
Ulthane nods his head and goes, Ulthane, pleased to meet you.
He says, Catman Dude, and he understands the briskness. You know, you were just kind of being cordial, so he's not going to waste your time with a handshake. He just kind of gives you the nod. He says,
I return the nod, like,
What business does the guild have out here?
We were hunting for a rock that was stolen.
That
The Waystone.
sounds like an enormous waste of the guild's time.
It was
We
the
also
Waystone.
We also came to find out what has been taking these farmers' crops and to try and solve that problem.
Did you say bugs? Sorry. Sorry. The problem.
Did not say bugs. No.
Sorry. You can tell he's got like a little weird tick that comes out of nowhere. I guess. I'm sorry. Shenanigans. And he kind of realizes what he says. It's, what I meant to say was, you said you came. He said you were looking for the problem. I think we should touch on this more because I'm actually here for the same reason. Just somebody else is paying me. But before that, did you say the milestone?
I think it was the Waystone. Was it a Waystone?
No, it was the milestone. He means the milestone.
I thought that's what he meant. The milestone. What is it doing out here? Is the guild in possession of the milestone right now?
Insight. Actually, no. I trust this man completely at this point. Yes, well, of course. In fact, it belongs to Craig.
Who is Craig?
Who is? I cannot think of a good way to describe Craig. Craig is an entity of his own. I guess easily he's similar to you in that he is a dude, a bro, and that he rides around on a spinning disc saw and fights with it. Prefers to deal mostly in low blows.
Ah, like a cheap shot artist. Now hold on. How is this Craig the one who has it?
Through a source of events, we retrieved it and gave it back to him to hold on to.
And he's like he's in his head right now. He's not even looking at you. His eyes are kind of rolled up, looking at the sky like he's doing a math equation. And he's trying to piece this all together. And he looks at somebody else and he's like, who is this Craig?
Craig works for the guild.
He is a hero of great renown. He has protecting these lands, or the lands around the guild for some time. He's been a hero for many years.
And when you start to talk again, he kind of gets that look on his face, but this time it does kind of look like he's dissecting you a little bit. Like he's almost not listening to the words. He's just looking at you.
The mane continues to grow. Probably a little bit more defensively than it was.
Let's see. He says, that is where I know you. It's been some time since I was apart, but it's been a long time since Illumina. Did I say that right? Illumina?
What? I look at him and I'm like, Illumina?
Illumina. I wasn't there very long. In and out.
What?
Says, the guild. How do you know of this Craig? He was never a part of the guild.
He is not part of that guild. There is another guild out here in Westrock. They protect these lands, not the lands of Wayrest.
And he kind of eases back into his stance a little bit. It's another guild. Okay.
It is a sister guild.
Says, well, of course I apologize. And his look towards you has gone very relaxed. He's solved whatever riddle was in his head here when he recognized you. And he even, kind of throws in, if the mane had gotten any longer, I would have spotted you right away.
I'm sorry. I don't remember you.
And he looks at you, and he unzips the top part of this bodysuit and pulls his arms out, and you can see he's got essentially a brand over the right side of his chest. But he sits there and he looks at you with his arms out, and he's like, you can see he's hesitating. Look, it's me, Snowball. And you can roll an insight to see if you remember him, but you can choose not to.
Okay, sure. We'll see. We'll let the dice decide. No, I have no idea who this is.
So he's sitting there and he's like, come on. That thing happened. I think you know.
You were... I don't... But how long has it been? I take a single step towards him, but there's clearly some, hesitance.
Yeah, and as you kind of say this, he just drops his arms down by his side, and he just looks at you, utterly defeated. It's like, oh man, I thought it was super memorable, but I guess nobody ever remembers Snowball. So he puts his arms back into the bodysuit, zips it up, and he says, anyway, you guys are dealing with whatever has gone missing here, huh? I think that the reason I'm in town, I'm covering Larno Ott's, his caravan. We ran into a couple of these, excuse the pun, critters outside. And I followed one here. took it down. Are you saying there's more of these things?
Yes.
We
Okay.
fought these. Oh, excuse me. We fought these things yesterday as well as today, and we believe that there are many more of them. We don't know where they're coming from or why they are stealing these crops, but clearly they seem to have these larger beasts, these Ankeg as pets maybe, or some other war beasts.
Feel like I've come across or maybe seen these before, but I understand if you don't remember. And he's kind of being coy with you since you don't know who he is.
Yeah. Let's say, I'm sure I will in time. It's just been a long day. Long couple of days.
And you can see him kind of standing here, and he's looking around at the ground. And he points over to Ulthane, but he's pointing at his feet. And he's saying, "Hey, what is that?"
Feet?
As you're like, you look down and you're like, it's feet. You notice, you see what he's pointing at, right on the inside of your left boot. There seems to be a what's the best way to put it? Kind of technicolored grass seems to have grown because this little area was singed and scorched, and up from the ground already is this vibrant, multicolored grass.
Now, like for the first time, it's like I have no clue.
As you reach over to kind of like grab it out of the ground, and you hold it in your hand, he says, "Rub it together."
Ulthane, like, seems that everyone else is just like, yeah, okay, fuck it. Ulthane just goes, yeah, screw it. What's the worst that could happen? He just fucking rubs it together. Yeah, let's screw it. Let's see what happens.
As you rub it together, this grass kind of becomes tightly rolled and almost it takes on a more sterner consistency, and then eventually you start to feel it kind of, or see it anyway, starting to turn to dust into your hands. And as you're kind of rolling it out of your hands, turning it into this very finely ground grass, it starts to kind of blow away in the wind. And Catman Dude follows it for a second with his eyes, and then it just seems to go off in a lot of different directions. And he's like, "So how much do you guys know about these things?" And he's kind of kicks at the Ankeg that's on the ground. And at this point, there are people coming back over the fence, and they're kind of doing what Gricklin did last time, kind of pulling these things apart and looking like they're setting them up to be toted off. But they're staying completely out of your way.
The people here use these things like fertilizer. That's all I really. They just, and then there's cricket men somewhere.
They burrow through the ground and jump up unexpectedly.
Wait, they do? I was looking for holes earlier. All I saw was dirt.
I'm not sure about these other things. Points to the four-armed ones. Says, I don't know if they burrow as well, but these larger beasts, the first time we fought it, it leapt up from the ground. There, we have defeated another one of these yesterday.
Says, yesterday, the attack seemed awfully close. And
Yes, they do.
And he reaches into a pocket on this bodysuit and pulls out a stone of far speech. And he puts it up to his mouth. And he says, looks like we got 2 attacks in the last 48 hours. And he puts it back down. He says, all right. So I think what we need to do here is we need to figure out where they're coming from. Which is not a revelation to you guys, because you guys have been trying to do that all day.
Well, Caden says as much. He says, that's what we were trying to do when we tracked them down here. I felt, I don't know how to explain it, an anxious feeling towards this area, and that is what drew us here. And lo and behold, an attack. There was another feeling like this in the sea, or in the town, just yonder. And I point in the direction, and I say, maybe there's more attacks going on there.
And he's just looking at you like, what? Like, and he says, well, do you feel that way now?
I don't know. So Asian sort of shrugs and kneels down to the ground, bends his ear to it, and sees what he can hear, I guess. So 18.
So this time you put your ear to the ground or sense nature, and you're sitting there and your eyes are closed and you're listening, and you weed through that white noise, and beyond it you don't hear or feel anything. And you open your eyes and you notice as they're dragging one of these Thri-kreen away that the metal bands that had all their shoulders kind of linked together had fallen off, and as soon as it fell off, it turned into just a vine, and you watched this happen in front of you.
So I'll point it out, I guess. Say, wasn't that just metal that was on the creature, and what is it now? It looks like it's like wood, a vine or something. What is going on?
So when everybody else sees it, they just see like a vine that's kind of turned and coiled on itself and just loose and stuff.
Are you sure that it was the little ring on the Thri-kreen or the cricket man? Because I think I blew a couple of them up.
I looked like, have they dragged both of them away? Is that
so? One of them, the one that was throwing, that has his hands cut off, it was him who was being drug away. The other one was the one who had him exploded.
I guess I would call out to the ones dragging it to stop for a moment, or see if we can investigate the corpse for a moment.
Yeah, oh yeah, they set it down, and they're like, as long as we get it. And then they kind of take a couple steps away so they can give you enough space.
So is there those metal things on this one?
Yep, on the right shoulder. You saw him slide off of the left before.
So I would gesture for everyone to gather around, and whoever wants to can. And I would point at the metal thing, and then I would try to wrench it off and place it on the ground and see what happens.
As soon as you slip this thing off of its arms, it turns just into a loose vine in your hand.
I hold it up.
Looking at the tchotchkes, I'm gonna go pick them up off the ground. Remove the hands and arms from them.
You pick them up.
Anything happened to the?
No.
Anything? I mean, not the tchotchkes. The arms that I had cut off.
Oh no.
So it looks as though the bands are not necessarily a part of them. Maybe they were placed on them. Some strange form of collar, maybe. And when I say collar, I shoot my eyes over at Catman Dude.
And he kind of looks at you and he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And he looks away and then he looks back like, what are you looking at? It's like, yeah, that's good.
But turning vines to metal is not something I'm familiar with.
I have never seen magic like this, as far as I can recall.
Well, maybe the next time we come across them, we try to take their little metal bands off, see what it does.
Maybe it would be a good idea to share this information with Craig.
Yes. I look over to Snowball and say, which direction did you come from to find yourself here?
Came through town. They were dropping off the horses when I saw this guy. So I came over, tried to take him out.
Say out aloud. It seems we are no closer to finding where these things are coming from or what they are mobilizing to do. But it does seem like you say that these attacks are close, and there's probably a lot more of them if they're so close like that.
He walks over and he grabs the vine out of your hand and he looks at it and he kind of snaps it, and you can see him thinking real hard on it. And he folds it in half and snaps it again. And then he hands it kind of back out towards you, Cajun. And he says, I mean, don't you think that this is as good a lead as anything else that you guys might have right now? Where would you find this vine? And he kind of holds it up like to your face to like have you sniff it, and then he pulls back real quick and just puts it in your hand and is super embarrassed.
Is this like a nature check or something?
You can absolutely nature check this thing if you like.
All right, yeah, I'll grab it and I'll sniff it and I'll...
Can I stealth it? Will stealthing it help?
No,
Stealth
anybody
it.
else?
That's about what I'm good for right now.
He
Let me
was,
hide behind.
He was going to do a
Neil.
little perform check with it. Like, oh, it's a snake.
I'll kneel and like draw a mini druid circle in the dirt and meditate. And as I do my nature check, is nature. It's not natural 20.
So there is two things. First one, you immediately recall seeing vines like these when you were coming out of the mountainous terrain when it started to level off. Was those last few little hills as you were going down, the area wasn't hills with plains, they were hills in forest. And so you recall seeing them, and so that's the first thing that snaps to mind. I guess that's the only thing that snaps to mind, would be that, because the rest of it you're not necessarily familiar with.
So I will look up after a few minutes and I say, the only thing I can discern is, you remember when we were coming out of the mountainous terrain and there was forest and the last few hills. I remember seeing some of these, I think. One's extremely like this, so like that it couldn't be something else. Didn't really take it in at the time, but I can tell you that these are the same as there. And I look to Snowball and I point in the direction that we had come. That way.
And you can kind of see him as you're talking about it. He kind of has that aha moment, like, oh, yeah. And quickly that look vanishes as he goes back to character. Well, looks like my job here is done. And he looks at you guys, and he kind of gives a half wave, and then he stands up straight and kind of pokes his chest out. And then he just sags his shoulders and just starts to kind of walk off, and then he stops. I'll be in town a while. If you need anything from me, let me know. Now, I'm working, so I'm not just available. But if there's anything I can do, let me know.
We understand. We're working too.
Perfect. And he kind of turns and walks, makes a 90-degree turn and disappears down a different row of trees in this orchard.
As he walks away, I turn to the others and I say what he was talking about. That's where I was transferred from. The old guild we apparently were both part of. I don't remember him, but maybe it will come to me in time. And I'm just sort of trying to explain to the others what the connection is.
Oh, well, don't worry too much about it.
So I would say at this point it is maybe 9:45 in the morning. Is there anything you guys want to do?
How long would it take to, approximately, do we think, to get back to that mountainous terrain?
That is a good day and a half, 2 days.
All right. I will go around the other people, like the commoners and that around the area, and Gricklin himself, who charged in, and just make sure everyone's okay and all of that. Just check on people and such before we head off.
Gotcha. Yeah, at the farm at Grickland specifically, um, as you're kind of walking back over there, they have gotten back to work, and you can hear Grickland kind of calling it out, telling people, "Hey, do this, get back to work. We need to make sure we're spending more time over here. We're losing daylight, that sort of thing." Um, and he sees you guys walk by, and as you're kind of coming to like approach him, he kind of just gives you a little salute, and you see him throw this machine over his chest, and he pulls around these two blades, and he just starts pushing through the dirt, and he's just tilling this ground.
I see you're hard at work.
And the machine is fairly loud because there's whatever is running this thing, there's a little clear circle, and inside there's this little ball of fire that's just spinning very quickly, and it's making this loud sound. And he's pushing, and he's just looking at you, and he's just mouthing, "I can't hear you," to you as he just keeps pushing. And he stops for a second and is like looking at you.
You look busy.
And he kind of shrugs, and he turns the knobs and puts them down by his side, and the noise dies way down. And he's like, "What did you say?"
At this point in time, have a nice day.
And he's like, "Oh, thanks for all your help. Appreciate it. We're going to make a lot of money." And he looks forward, puts these things back in the ground, turns it, and it fires back up again, and he just goes back to plowing. What's everybody else doing?
I'm looking at the group. I turn toward town. My body turns. I begin to take a step, and I stop. Body facing away from the group. Look back at the group. Turn my body. Cock my head.
Well, we should, before we go anywhere else, we might want to tell Craig maybe where we're going. Because, or at least try to, before we pursue this anymore, at least let the guild know.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm open if anyone has any other strategies than that. But I don't think it would be wise to just, we've got the stone back. We've dealt with the problem at the moment with the town. I say would be best to report into the guild.
And to the mayor.
True.
My body turns. I'm still looking at the group. I take a step, still looking at the group, body turned away. Turn my head.
Would seeing Critter act like this implying that he wants to go towards the mountains? Because I heard, because every once in a while y'all are cutting out real bad. I heard somebody talk about the mountains. Possibility?
that would Critter stops, turns. The mountains are further down the road. It would be best if we let Craig know what's going on, especially if he is expecting us to, or rather expecting to travel with us back to West Rock.
Ulthane nods and he says, I think we should, then I guess it's, what does the other two vote on?
Yes, town sounds like the best plan.
Let's go tell Craig.
Good idea. Now, Pat, Ulthane kind of slaps Critter on the back, goes, good idea.
Critter nods and goes ahead and starts walking.
So you guys make it kind of back in towards town, and we'll sort of, I guess we'll probably end on this little scene here, and we can pick up there when we get back. So you guys walk back into town. The dirt road turns to gravel, turns to cobblestone, and you're walking through, and you see the buildings. There are people who are out, and they see you, and every once in a while you'll see one of those people from the farm, and they're either carrying a load of something or they're coming back from carrying a load, and they see you, and they're always like, yeah, you know. And eventually there's more and more people out on the street, but fewer and fewer people are there to cheer you on. They're all just kind of standing there, and you walk up on the back of a crowd, all kind of looking centrally focused on something that's right outside of the mayor's office. And what it is you see this big, this big black wagon. It looks like it's the size of, it's 4 wagons deep and 2 wagons wide. And it's just got this big leather, just leather stretched across the outside of it. And out front, you see this dwarven man, and he's got very nice regalia on. In his beard, he has these little golden rings where parts of his beard are like folded through it, and it's in multiple tiers and things like that. He's very well done up, and he's sitting there and with his arms crossed, and you can see him looking like towards the building itself. And then you see a head poke out from the mayor's office, and it's the receptionist. And she's like, you can hear her. You can't hear her, but she's sitting there, and she's like, just giving the universal calm down sign. And Catman Dude walks out of the crowd from the right side and goes and stands next to this dwarf. And he's just kind of standing there, and he sees you guys coming, and he gives you a little wave. And through the scene onto the other side, between the little hitch where the oxen are pulling this enormous wagon, in that little dip, you can see there is Craig standing there kind of looking at this stuff. And he sees you guys over the crowd and kind of waves real big. And I think that's where we'll cut it for the night. So again, thanks for playing, everybody. I appreciate everybody giving us a little time every other week. It's very fun. We are still in Horizon for now. And we'll go from there. Again, thanks everybody for playing. Have a wonderful night.
Yep. See you later.